In today's video, how to frame every single shot perfectly. What's going on, guys? My name is Jack, or ItsJackCole. Welcome back to another video here on my channel. I produce weekly content based around video editing, videography, and how to make money making videos. Subscribe now if you're interested. Today we're going to be breaking down how to get the perfect shot damn near every single time. Basically, this is going to be using a method which is pretty straightforward, and a lot of you probably will know about, but also to the few of you that don't, it'll click in your head and you'll be thinking to yourself, damn, I should have been doing that before. But on screen right now is Premiere. I got 3 different examples, and this method is actually going to be using 4K as your actual record mode. So you're recording 4K, but you're actually going to be cutting your projects down to 1080p. Now, a lot of clients that I work with in freelance, obviously they don't need a full 4K video. They don't even ask for it. They just want their final result in 1080p. But oftentimes I'll still obviously record in 4K because it gives me more leverage in the post-production process. For example, our examples here are a YouTube video for me in the club, which, hold tight, let that load. That's from when I recorded Future last year. And then just a shot of me in the woods, type of thing like that, which we're all gonna tighten these shots to actually get the perfect shot, but the actual original output is far from the perfect shot. It's not actually, zoomed in on our target, our focal point, or anything like that. And, they're all good shots, but we wanna make them a little bit better. We wanna bring them in and we wanna make them the perfect shot. And I'm gonna show you how to do that very easily by cutting your projects down from 4K to 1080p, which gives you loads more work room to actually kind of, adjust the frame size. And, the way we do that is in, whatever editor you're in. I'm going to use Premiere because it's just what I use. We go to our sequence settings and we take our frame size from the 4K resolution, which it currently is at, and we drop it to 1080p. And this gives us loads more leverage because you see, if we were to go back actually on a 4K project, if we wanted to say tighten this, I got a little bit ADD, ADHD, not ADD, OCD type of thing like that, where you want everything to be kind of perfect. This is kind of bugging me a little bit. In theory, having the desk cannot start at the bottom of the frame. So if we were to just take this and just start moving the scale in, we're losing quality. Like, say I wanted to line the monitors up so they're there, my head's at the top, and this is like a nice closed in frame. We've increased this by 50%, so we've lost a bunch of quality by doing that. But just by simply dropping the actual project down to 1920 by 1080 from a 4K project, you don't lose any quality. It zooms it all the way in, and then you can actually zoom out and just kind of zoom out to where you want it, not lose any quality, but still get the perfect frame that you wanted and actually frame it perfectly like that. And zoom out maybe a little bit more, zoom over a little bit, and you've got all this extra work room, and you're not losing any quality by doing this. You just kind of have this this full work room, and then you can actually play, and I can line it up so that when I actually sit back here, it's looking nice and lined up, and it is kind of the perfect shot that we wanted. Again, line this up however you want. Now, that's just one example right there. Like I said, I got 2 other examples, but that in the gist is the strategy right there. If you want to be perfectly framing your shots, overshoot the resolution so that you can actually minimize it down and give yourself all this extra work room. If you are shooting 1080p and your camera can't do 4K, I probably wouldn't suggest that you drop your projects to 720p because that's a little bit 2010 now, to be honest. But dropping your projects to 1080 from 4K, that's not a big deal, by any means, to be honest. And, for certain projects, you might not even want to be rendering in 4K because, if it's a freelance project, the client might have not paid for that or whatever. But, I'm just going to continue these 2 other examples to show you more context on how we would actually tighten these shots. So this right here is from Future, when I actually recorded Future last year. Oh, wow, that's really loud, man, damn. I got to drop that a bit. So, boom, this is really cool, but you've got some stuff like this dude on the left-hand side right here, with the goddamn hand in the way. So, say we wanted to zoom in on Future right here. We want, he's obviously our focal point and is going in right now. A lot of lights going crazy. It looks like a very good shot, but his hand is annoying me right here, potentially, you know what I mean? I'm trying to put myself in the mind of me editing this. What we'd again do is go up to the sequence, drop it down to 1080p, 1920 by 1080. Simple like that, and we've zoomed in by double without losing any quality. And now we can actually, go back to the beginning. again, give this a play, and obviously we're gonna wanna actually, use the position to actually adjust this up a bit, and we've got all this extra work room, and we can actually bring this over a little bit like that, maybe even put this out on like a 90%, and we've instantly tightened this shot, tightened this frame, zoomed in right there, we got that hand right there, so we can move over a little bit more, so that, we're more or less getting that hand gone, and we could even bring this shot all the way over there. So it's just future there on the left, and we've completely gotten rid of this annoyance of the hand in the way, and tighten the shot really, really nicely. And that's essentially what this method does. It just makes you be able to tighten the shot in the post-production process. If at the time you weren't necessarily able to frame everything perfectly, kind of gives you a second chance, which is what I love about this method. But again, depending on how much that 4K resolution matters to you, you might be opposed to dropping your projects down to 1080p, but like I said, if the client doesn't necessarily want a 1080p project, or if you're okay with sacrificing the quality, if it's not even a client work or whatever, I would suggest doing this because you're able just to, frame your shots so perfectly. But by all means, if you're a veteran videographer, by all means, you're going to be probably framing your shots pretty perfectly just, by your actual kind of freehand, you know what I mean? You might not even be able to have to be doing this too much in the post-production process, but to a lot of you guys out there who are maybe at the more beginning stages of your career in terms of videography, or your passion by all means, or hobby, whatever the way you're doing this stuff is, for a job or just a hobby, this right here is definitely gonna help a lot of my beginners out there who are kind of struggling maybe to get their foresight to see certain shots and stuff, but maybe in the post-production process you see like, oh, I wish I could have done this. This right here gives you a method to do whatever it is you wish you could have done, which is like tighten the shot. But this right here is going to be one final method, one final example rather. This is just a clip from like a year ago. Me and my homie were just messing around in the woods, just shooting a bunch of B-roll to use for future videos. I'll just play it to show you. It's like me running up, acting all dramatic, like it was like a short film type of thing.
Go.
So you see what I mean? Just doing this little actor kind of thing, you know what I mean?
That'd be good.
Where I just run up and, just act like I'm really out of breath, like it's a chase scene or something like that. And again, we are able to come up here to sequence, go here, drop this to a 1080p sequence, still definitely a great sequence. And just like that, if we, bring the position up now, we've clipped this, lost absolutely no quality, tightened the frame to make it, and we could actually chop off that beginning bit that my homie Noah says, go. And, it just starts right here, kind of much more close to the action, much more immersive. And, this is kind of how a movie would be. A movie probably wouldn't, show all this crazy stuff out here, or kind of an epic scene in a movie, but they would be like real close up to the character, close to the focal point, close to the action. And, this is, it adds a whole nother element to it. It makes it more intense when, you're right there, close to the action, and you can shoot further away to give yourself more perspective and more leverage in the post-production process, and then just tighten your stuff like this, and that's really nicely. We've gotten a much nicer shot in theory than we had before by just tightening it. Same with this YouTube video right here. Brought it in a little bit. Even bring that up a little bit like there, and that's looking really, really dope as well. So we've tightened this shot pretty nicely. I'm wearing these new Bluetooth headphones. They're just dangling from my face. And then we've tightened this club shot really nicely. And we can actually go later on into the club shot, just bring it over a little bit. Look at that dude, man. And just like that, man, that is how we get the perfect shot. That was a pretty nice screenshot that I just stopped on. Look at that. Damn, it's just a random screenshot in the in the project. But boom, that right there is how to frame your shots perfectly. Some videography tips for you using Premiere Pro, but by all means you can do this in whatever video editor you're using. But a lot of people are using Premiere, especially if you're doing loads of professional stuff. But Final Cut as well. A lot of people use Final Cut as well. I gotta mention my Final Cut people. But thank you guys for watching. I've been ItsJackCole. Have a nice day, and I'll see you guys in the next video.